Howdy, howdy, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Passion Theory, where I share with you some of my passions. Today, the passion I'm going to share with you is passion of learning, kind of. I don't know if makeup's going to be a passion of mine because I don't know enough about makeup to know if I really like it. I do know I really like it when, I really like, the only time I ever really do makeup is on Halloween. When you can go like all out and crazy, and I do know there's a lot of people who do like, I wouldn't say over the top, but very artistic makeup, and I know I really like that, and I would like to learn how to do that. But before I can do that, I need to learn makeup basics, like just, basic stuff. And I'm gonna go into a little bit on why I don't you probably, I don't think you've ever seen me wear makeup. I think the last time I wore makeup was Halloween 5 years ago. So I'll get into why I don't wear makeup and why I don't know how to do makeup. So, growing up, my mom wore a lot of very, very thick, heavy makeup. And the reason why she did was because when she was about 10 years old, her and her siblings were riding through some woods, and there was this person, I believe she said it was an older gentleman, well, not a gentleman, but an older man, who would yell at them because it was too close to his house. It wasn't his land, it was public land, and it was made as a walking path, and they'd ride their bikes through it. And he didn't like kids, and so he knew the kids would ride their bikes through it, and he kept yelling at them not to. And then one day they were riding their bikes through it, and apparently he had strung up barbed wire at about neck level, and my mom was in the lead, and she hit the barbed wire here on her neck and flipped around it, and it tore off a good chunk of her cheek, and it cut open her jugular, and she had a piece of her face hanging off. And should I got a trigger warning? Trigger warning, graphic stuff happening. I'll write it. I'll write it at the beginning. So, that hurt, but she could see the blood going like this every time her heart beat, and she managed to get her finger into the hole, like not only in her skin but in her jugular as well, and she kept it there. Went home, and her dad was like, "Why are you holding your finger like that?" And she's like, "I nicked my jugular, and if I move it, I'll bleed to death." And he's like, "No, you won't. Move your hand." And she's like, "No, I will." So he made her move her hand, and it started going. He's like, "Put it back, put it back." So she put her finger back, and they drove her to the emergency room. And as she was coming in to the emergency room, there was a doctor who was leaving, and apparently he was the man who, I haven't done research on this, so I don't know what his name was, but he was one of the pioneering people who invented the butterfly stitch, I believe is the stitch that it was called. And he was a very famous cosmetic surgeon, and he had been flown in specialty because some rich person or famous person's child had been getting some kind of needed cosmetic surgery, and he saw my mom on the way out as he was leaving and was like, "Oh, this child needs my services or she's gonna be horribly scarred for life." So he decided to take her on for free or for a very reduced cost, because my mom's parents were very, very poor and could not have afforded him at all. But he didn't charge, he charged them for normal stitches or something like that. But he did the same thing. He was like, "Why are you holding your hand there?" And she said, "I nicked my jugular." And he's like, "Oh no, it's probably just bleeding. You'll be fine. Just move your finger. I've got this, right?" And she's all like, "Be ready. I'm serious. I nicked my jugular." And so he's like, "Okay, I'm ready." And she did it. And he's like, "I was not ready." But anyway, they got her stitched up, and he did like the stitches inside her cheek. He stitched it all on the inside and stuff, so most of her scarring's on the inside. So she has very little scars for what happened to her. I could barely see them. They're like very light lines of discoloration. They're just a little bit lighter than her normal skin tone. They're not noticeable to me, but they're very noticeable to her. And she seems to think that they are extremely noticeable. And she will not leave the house without makeup on. Without heavy makeup on. And she did like really heavy... Is this distracting that my mirror is... I'll just shut that because then I won't have an extra face. There we go. Anyway... now I feel like the thing is imbalanced. What if I go like that? No, like that. Okay, I'll just lean. No, I can't lean that way because of the stupid glare. Shh. You guys, I'm still figuring out this whole YouTube thing and like what makes things look good and how to set my stuff up. Good enough. I'm using my head right now to block that light that's coming in from my window in the mirror behind me. Okay, so oh crap. There we go. Also, my hairdo is not cooperating. I want all my hair to go over here and it doesn't want to today. So I got my little shave. This. I'm going to take it up higher, I think, because it doesn't want to stay. Anyway. So, where was I? Anyway, yeah, so what she knows about makeup, she learned from her mom. And her mom learned about makeup in like the 40s and 50s. And so my mom always looks like, you know, like she grew up in the 70s, but her makeup always looks like she's in the 50s, you know, like very bright red lip, blush, you know. She has all these rules that she taught me, and like she uses the foundation that's like liquid foundation, and she'll like put it on her hand and like go like this and then like rub it all over her face really, really thick. And she taught me things like you don't, like you put mascara on your top eyelashes, but not your bottom ones, because only sex workers do that. Like that's a bad thing, number one. And she doesn't like put eyeliner. I think she does like the pencil eyeliner on the bottom, but like in brown and not black. And yeah, she either wears like bright red or like a brown nude-ish lipstick and things like that. Like everything was both very subtle and very like bam, because it was just like so thick of foundation and stuff. And it's very much a look, okay? It's like very much a look. I'm gonna just do my hair on both sides because it's bothering me that it doesn't want to stay on one side. But I like this hairdo because I can do like the punky look by putting it all over. When I have too much fluff in my hair, so it won't behave right now without like a light hairspray or something. It just keeps falling back down, and so I'd rather just put my hair on both sides. Anyway. So my mom basically is under the impression that you shouldn't wear makeup unless you have facial scarring or something, or you're quote unquote ugly. So when I grew up, she was like, you're not ugly, so you don't need to learn how to use makeup. So I didn't learn how to use makeup because I wasn't allowed to. And eventually when I was around, oh yeah, she also said like if you wore lipstick, it would drain the natural colors of your lips. And like if you wore foundation, it would make you paler and get rid of like your natural blush and stuff. That's not true, by the way. They can't do that. Um, but yeah, by the time I was like 12, all my friends were wearing makeup, and I really wanted to try. And so she gave in and she gave me her stuff and showed me how to use her makeup, and just basically showed it, one thing at a time. So what I did was one day, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I had worn it at home a couple of times, and my mom didn't, she was just like, okay. And I wore it around the house. I wore it out to the mall with my friends and stuff like that. Remember, this was back in the day. We didn't have cell phones, but you could occasionally call on like a payphone. But we go in like a big group of friends and like take the bus to the mall, or one of the moms would drop us all off at the mall, and you'd have a bunch of 12-year-olds, 12 to 15-year-olds running around the mall in a big group. And you can't really, we don't really do stuff like that anymore because of all the freaking crazy people, because of all the freaking people who are predators. And yeah, there were tons of times me and my friends almost got kidnapped. I can that's why I don't let my kid out, because everyone's like, oh, we ran around and it was fine. I ran all around in the woods. I ran all around my neighborhood, and I almost got kidnapped several times. A lot of my friends almost got kidnapped. I have stories about that. And the only reason we didn't get kidnapped is because we were stranger danger savvy and feisty and traveled in packs. But those are stories to tell at a different time. So yeah, so the reason, man, I'm sorry that I get off track. I literally write down notes to keep me on track that I'm glancing down here occasionally at, and I still get distracted. My kiddo has ADHD. I'm wondering if I grew up with it or something, because I've noticed watching my videos that I can't seem to stay on like a one track, like start, middle, end, without getting sidetracked. And I don't do that when I'm like writing and stuff. I don't know. Okay, so back to it. So I had been wearing it out and around and, about 3 times. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to wear it to school. And my mom was like, fine. She saw my makeup and she was like, cool, have a nice day at school. And I went to school. I was in middle school at the time. And I believe I was in 6th grade. And 6th or 7th. I think it was 6th. And I might have been 11. Anyway, I went to school, and I was at school for about half an hour to an hour when I got called out of class, and I didn't know what was going on. And there was like the principal or it was the vice principal. And you know what? This happened in elementary school. So I must have been 10. Yeah, I was in 5th grade. That's right. I'm just remembering which person it was that called me to the bathroom and what the bathroom looked like. I thought I was a little bit older, but no, I was 10. But all of my friends were wearing like makeup and pretty heavy makeup by then. And I didn't know why I had been called out of class. So I went, and my vice principal was there, and told me that basically I looked like a sex worker, and it was distracting the teachers, the male teachers and the male students. My makeup was. Didn't tell me what about my makeup was inappropriate when it was on par with what everyone else was wearing, except for I wore, like, I would say the colors were probably garish, because I was wearing like bright red lipstick, because, I was a kid, and that's what like Barbie wore and like what the girls on the TV wore. And I had like was green eyeshadow because I had heard that that helps make blue eyes pop or something. And I probably had put it on really heavy because I thought it was sparkly and pretty, you know. But she made me scrub it off. She said I could not go back to class until I scrubbed it off. She did not call my mom to verify that my mom didn't mind. She didn't call my mom to ask my mom to come pick me up so I could clean it off at home or to come get me. She did not get permission from my parents to touch me because I refused at first because I had spent a good hour doing this, because remember, I didn't know how to do the makeup, so I woke up an hour early. It was only my 5th time doing makeup. I woke up an hour early to do it. Most of the makeup was waterproof makeup, and so I was in the bathroom with her, and all we had were those paper towels in the school, the really rough brown paper towels in the school restroom, and the soap from the school dispenser, and the sink where you press the bar and all the little trickles come out. I don't know if you guys have, it's almost, it's hard to describe. It's like a big trough and you press the bar and it's like a shower head almost, but they're little and they all go on the ring. So I was in there in the bathroom with her scrubbing my face. I mean, it wouldn't come off. My mascara especially wouldn't come off. Everything else she managed to get off, but my mascara just would not come off for over an hour of her scrubbing my face and my eyes. And I didn't like being touched. I still don't like being touched unless I know you very well. And even then, sometimes, no. There are people I'm not comfortable with them touching me, and I don't know why most of the time, and there are people I'm totally fine with touching me. But I was very much getting very upset because 1, she was hurting me. 2, my face was red, raw. 2, I was embarrassed because it's not like they blocked off the bathroom while they were doing this. Kids were coming in and out of the bathroom. And this whole time she was just telling me how it was inappropriate and never to do it again. And she couldn't believe that my parents raised me to think that this was okay and that I looked like a harlot and all of these other things. So I finally went back to class, still had, raccoon eyes, where the, hair, where the mascara had, ran. And, my mom was upset, but by then, it had, gone down, the redness on my face had gone down by the time I got home from school. And I think the only thing I said was that they had made me wash it off. I don't think I was a child. I did not, if my mom had known that she had physically held me there for an hour and that it was hurting me and I told her not to do it, I think the way I communicated with my mom was she thought that the school had asked me to wash it off and that I had capitulated, I had decided that that was fine and that I had done it myself. Because knowing my mom, my mom is extreme, and that can be good and bad. It's good when she's in your corner, and it's bad when she's against you. But I have lots of stories about my mom. My mom broke one of my brother's teacher's arms, okay? My mom is extreme. If my mom had known that they had physically touched me and held me there like that, if I had communicated that properly, there would have been a big to-do. And I don't remember a big to-do happening. So, but I kind of do wish I had communicated properly, because that's one of the times when I personally, it comes up in therapy and stuff with me. That's why I don't wear makeup. makeup is really hard for me to do because when I'm doing it, I remember that. Try not to cry. Oh my god. See? It's like, hang on 1 second. Let me. Okay. So, it's like I can remember what I felt at the time every time I think about makeup. But I want it to be a happy thing. And the only time I can do that typically is like I put on makeup for, like, I was in drama classes and stuff, and I could put up stage makeup, which is completely different than normal makeup. I can do stage makeup, and I can do like on a Halloween. So basically if I'm wearing a costume. But my therapist said that I should start collecting makeup and like touching it and going through it and learning about it. And then so there would be more of a tactile, like non-emotional connection to it. I'm only crying now because of the story. I'm definitely ready to start actually using makeup without freaking out. It's just I had to talk about why I don't know how. And, you know, when you talk about something that was hard in your life, it brings up emotions sometimes. So no matter how, quote unquote, over it you are. Anyway, so that is why I never learned how to do makeup. Also, a little raw now, so let's see if I can get through the rest of this little discussion. I didn't mean for this to go on this long, but I figured this needed to be said in case I break down crying while I'm trying to put on makeup and you guys are like, what's going on? So also, I went through a period of my life where how I was raised, you weren't allowed to show weaknesses. This whole crying thing, I didn't start being able to cry when I felt upset until I was like out of my parents' house. I used to not really be able to do it. It's like my body didn't know how. And I definitely would never have filmed myself being upset in any way. But yeah, the way I was raised by my mom, not my dad, by my mom, was you did not show weakness in any way. And that also, because of how I was raised, translated into me wanting, by the time I was about in 8th grade, like 14-ish, time I was about 14, I wanted nothing to do with anything girly because I saw girly people as weak. So I didn't want anything to do with dresses, skirts, makeup, nothing like that, because that would come across as a weakness. And that's, you know, something I've definitely gotten over. I wear dresses, I wear skirts. I just haven't gotten to the makeup bit. I still hate the color pink, but I think I've just always hated the color pink. I like some color pinks. Like hot pink. I like hot pink. Typically going along with black. But anyway, so between those two things, like that, like three things, my mom harping on me that only ugly people wear makeup, which is not true. One, like, ugly's not really a thing. And social construct. Anyway. Two, the thing with my school. And then three, like, the fact that I went far away from feminine norms as I could for a chunk of my life. From the time I was like 14 to the time I was about 20. And 20 is when I left my parents' house. I was 20 when I left my parents' house. It was really hard to do, but I managed to do it. And I'll get into those kinds of stories at some other time if you want. We'll probably have more story times. This is like a fun little, well, it wasn't fun. Fun is not the word I would use for what just, this was a very therapeutic story time. So, yeah, thank you all for listening to my blabber on about the reasons why I don't know how to use makeup. So, I wanted to put this out there because I'm going to be putting up, sorting and putting away everything into my, Lily Made Vanity that I'm sitting at right now. And, I have no idea. I have a bunch of makeup because I did all those sample things. And, I don't know what half of it is. I don't know what it is. I researched some stuff when I got it. So I do vaguely know a lot more than I did. I do know most of the makeup, as long as it is not closed, it's good past the use. As long as it is closed and sealed, it should still be fine, even if it's expired, because it's never been opened. Some of it might not be the best, but it's what I've got to experiment with, and I'm not going to buy anything until I know what I'm doing and know what I like. Anyway, so thank you for listening to my rant. We'll call it a rant. Call it a little story time therapeutic rant. You know, next time we can get into me putting away stuff in my vanity. And I'll have more, not all therapeutic, but I'll have more story times. I've told a lot of my spooky story times. I have a lot of really spooky, scary, ghosty stories. True ghosty stories that have happened to me and my family. And I put a lot of those on some of my art videos and some of my gaming videos, but I think not everybody wants to watch me draw and stuff, so I think I'll just do some story times like this, just me and the camera, and maybe I'll do it at night and like light candles and be all spooky dooky. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Make sure to save room for your own passions, and or make room for your own passions. I'll see you next time. Bye.